Hey, my brothers and sisters, it's your boy Zacho, and welcome back to some more Wuthering Waves. And today we're going to be talking about Galbrena, Angel, and the Chimera. Now, with Galbrena's reveal, a lot of people are excited about her design and abilities, but I think she might tie into something much deeper, that being the character Angel, purifying the dark tide, and even the myth of the Chimera itself. But before we get into all that, let's just take a moment to take in how amazing Galbrena's splash art is. We see that Galbrena is looking absolutely fire. Some of the best splash art we've seen in the game. For some reason, she's standing on a tacit mark, or maybe it's an eye. Really don't know. It actually does look like a tacit mark, but no. And there's fire, flames everywhere. We got a little Pegasus in the background that maybe it could be referencing in Purgatory. We have a harpy in there as well, and then we have a lion with a goat's helmet on, with serpents everywhere. Now, some people have made the joke that she will not be fire, and we will continue down the path of art means nothing, and just because there's flames here, she could be ice. But hopefully, with all the fire that is being depicted in her art, she will be a fire character who is very strong. She more than likely be a gunner because she is wielding that thing in her hands, but also because she is known as a Discord Slayer. Now, using both the splash art and the animated intro they gave to us, we have two quotes that we can work off of to give us a little bit of a better understanding of what she can do. That being the fact that the flames that she is using are purgatory flames. They are used to purify the enemies and allow them to become a source of her power, or they are just reduced to ash. That's what the actual quote itself says, is to be purified and become her servants, or to be reduced to ashes. Now, that can be interpreted as they literally just become similar to that little Shadow X flame that we see following her around, that it has the lion head, or it's that she actually consumes the beings that are engulfed in her flames and it does become a source of power for her. As far as which one that exactly is, we won't know until she actually releases, but the design so far really is amazing. But that's enough Galbrena glazing. Let's move over to one of the key points of this video, which is the fact that Angel and Galbrena should be the same character. And I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that one fact, that Galbrena and Angel should be the same character. From the more subtle things, like they have the exact same hair, even though Galbrena's more grown out, that should happen with age, and the fact that they are two beings that are really consumed by flames in their depictions, to the more obvious one, which is that giant looming shadow that is over Angel that we saw in the 2.6 story, which is the same one that we saw looming around Galbrena as well in the little promotional video we got that had Cristoforo narrating over it. So yeah, that's kind of the big elephant in the room. That same darkness creature literally links those two together, so those two should be the same exact character. Now, we know because of Augusta, Angel did go missing after she lost control of her powers. Augusta states herself that she could do nothing but watch as Angel transformed into something that was no longer human, and after that she never saw her again. So for Angel to come back to her hometown, it wouldn't be too crazy. On top of that, now that she has a better understanding and control of her powers, her wanting to come back and fight the thing that was causing issues in her past doesn't seem too far-fetched. Now, what I do think is very interesting, though, is in a similar vein of trying to understand exactly how Galbrena's powers work, I think everything that happened in that old oak tree was a complete accident. The dark tide is just drawn towards powerful people, which was stated, but what it didn't expect was the fact that Galbrena's powers takes in external frequencies, purifies them if they're corrupted, and then turns that into her own power. That being said, since the dark tide is just a manifestation of pure corruption and darkness, for Galbrena's forte, which is purgatory, it was like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But at the same time, her body couldn't handle all that power at once, so she started to, lose control, go berserk and all that good stuff, which is probably how she got tainted by the dark tide, why she has that little demon arm, because her body couldn't withstand all that, energy. It started to crack the frame itself, and she had to disappear to, get that under control. Or maybe it's the reverse of she became a complete monster, and as she was learning to, become what we would consider a human in terms of appearance, the remnants of what she once was is, that demon arm. So maybe she just reverted herself back to what she used to be, and that's why her arm's like that. It could go either way. This is the fun of speculation. So it's not like she can just simply consume energy nonstop. Obviously, there's a limit. We've all seen the trope of a villain with the ability to absorb stuff always gets beaten by someone who can just give it enough energy to where they pop like a balloon. But it would seem that everything that happened inside of the old oak, where Galbrena's forte got supercharged by the dark tide, was just a complete accident, it would seem. And even then, it alludes to it not even being a complete purification in itself, because from what Wuling said, the aftermath that was left behind that pure dark tide frequency, it just looked as though it lost its main trait, which was the whole corrupting people, but it was still dark tide. And they said if it mixes with another person's forte, then it would be explosion of power again. But again, it was still the dark tide, it just lost the corruption factor. And now finally, let's talk about the Chimera aspects of Galbrena. Now, firstly, what is a chimera for those who do not know? The chimera was a terrifying fire-breathing monster, most famously described as a hybrid creature with a lion's body and head, a goat's head on its back, and a serpent for its tail. Now, keeping that description in mind, what about Galbrane's splash art would lead somebody to put those two things together? It would be the actual fiery smoke lion head that appears to her right side. It literally is a lion's head with a helmet of a goat horn on top of it. Could just be there to symbolize the fact that, it would have the goat on its back, and then serpents are everywhere for the serpent's tail, the three parts of the chimera. On top of that, in some depictions of chimeras, they actually do have wings. Sometimes it is dragon wings. In Galbrena's case, we could just use a different creature simply because she does have those giant bird wings. I mean, I still say phoenix wings, but it is what it is. Now, that could also be the reason why we have the other two creatures to her left side, that being the little Pegasus and Harpy, in the more ashened side of the art, because a complete gray where they're at. Maybe it's just showing the other things that she has essentially purified or absorbed in the past, and that is why she can, pull out the wing to her left side. But yeah, Galbrena definitely does have some connection to the Chimera in some way, shape, or form. I mean, hell, it would work pretty good with the whole idea of using her flames to purify these frequencies, then to turn them into her servants. Obviously, with all these frequencies meshing together, they would be, well, a chimera. Because looking at the chimera from a non-mythological standpoint, a chimera can also just be a hybrid of different animals meshed together. It also could raise into question what she can actually purify and or absorb itself, because she is called the Discord Slayer. So can she only do this with things that are, considered discords themselves? Things that are made entirely up of frequencies. So when it comes to people, would she not be able to even use the flames on them to actually hurt them? Is that why she carries around the gun for those cases where, she's not fighting discords? Don't know. But yeah, one more thing about the chimera is the fact that it does symbolize fear that can be overcome. So I think the fact that she now has this chimera shadow with her after, she had the incident with the Dark Tide, and the Dark Tide itself has that ability to do those whispers to corrupt people's mind, shows that she overcame the fear that the Dark Tide probably instilled within her back in the past. Could just be another one of those cool things that they're just alluding to. Plus, speculation is always fun, but yeah, no. I just wanted to sit down and break down Galbrena a little bit more closely, especially now that we had the 2.6 story, and actually that we had the splash art as well, that gave us even more possibilities and openings to look into. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new, and if you have any, theories, ideas, or anything else, shoot them out. I always love to hear them. But I will see you guys in the next one. Love you guys, and bye-bye.